Hello card fighters, welcome back to VC Academy. This is going to be the first part of the trial deck evolution series. It's going to be really cool. As you can see, we got 2 Gold Paladin Gurgwit cards there. That means we got 2 trial decks for Knight of the Sun, the start deck, and we're going to be mixing it together, making a pretty basic deck, and then we're going to take it to locals, see how it does, and then in the following weeks we're going to be updating it. I'm thinking we'll go for at least 2 weeks, as long as a month. See how much, we can improve the deck, how far we can get with just the trial deck and a couple bucks each week. So that being said, let's look at the deck. So, to start off, we'll look at our strides, just to keep that simple and get those guys out of the way. So each trial deck is going to come with the 2 Ray Breath Dragons, so we've got a total of 4 and 1 Scourge Point each. So we've got those guys, and I went ahead and preempted a little bit because G Guardians are so important in the game these days. I've got 2 Agleams and 2 Scryos. I went ahead and picked them up so that we're not at a huge, we're already at a little bit of a disadvantage going into locals with just the start deck. So I wanted to make sure we're at least up to date on all the latest tech and got some Cryomental G Guardians. These guys are probably going to be our best friends for the Trial Deck Evolution series, and you're going to be seeing a lot of them even in the future series. Alright, so let's get these guys sleeved up, as they are the only strides we have. Alright, so it's all nice and sleeved up. We got our pretty basic stride zone there with 2 Scourge Points, 4 Ray Breaths, 2 Scryus, and 2 Agleams. So we'll go ahead and look at the main deck now. Obviously for our starter, we do have 2 Kobolds, but we really only need 1. So we'll just have that 1 Kobold as a starter. We'll set him to the side. Then we'll go to the grade 3s. I think the grade 3 should be pretty easy for this deck. We definitely want our Gurgwits, and we definitely want our Divinity Lancers. So we've got the 4 Divinity Lancers right there. Gonna go ahead and search through the other deck. Alright, so we got our Divinity Lancer Dragons, and then we have our 4 Gurgwits. And so the goal of the deck is obviously going to be to get on Gurgwit, and Divinity Lancer is going to be a really good backup to help, or as a rear guard to help hit those 21,000 numbers. So I think this will be a pretty solid grade 3 lineup, and it's going to be the standard 8. Set those guys to the side. Look at our grade 2 next. We have we got a lot of different choices here. Right, we have the 4 different choices that came with the start deck, and since we got 2, we have playsets of all of them, so we can choose whatever we want. 10k Vanilla, obviously a good choice because of that defense. This guy's going to be, I think, probably going to be a good choice. Elio, he's going to provide some early pressure for us and build up the soul. And then we have Catalyst, is going to be a 12k attacker by himself. That's going to be really useful. I'm not super sold on the Special Interceptor, but he might be useful. He might bait our opponents into attacking him. So what I'm thinking right now is we'll definitely have the 4 Catalyst. We'll definitely have the 4 Elio for some, extra on-hit pressure, bait our opponents into guarding or getting some extra effects if they don't guard. And then, some combination of these guys. Maybe 3 of the 10Ks and maybe 1 8k, or maybe we'll mix it up. I do think that 10ks will be useful. A lot of the cards in this deck call with plus 2,000 power, so that will make them 12ks, so you might be able to bump yourself up and make some 21ks with the 10k. So we'll go ahead and see how that plays out. But I'm thinking we'll just run one of these just to see how it does, or maybe we'll do 2 and 2 just to kind of test things out, see how this will work. So we're going to go ahead and pull these out of the deck. Alright, so this will be really good for us, I think. We've got the 12k attacker, he's going to help us hit some numbers. We've got the 4 Elio to provide some pressure for our opponent. And with Scourge Point, he might be pretty useful because that unit you call, if you hit with him, is going to have the plus 5,000. So that will be good. And then we'll just use 2 of the special interceptors and 2 of the 10k vanillas. This will help us figure out which card is being more useful in the deck. Because obviously this isn't going to be the final version. It's really important to get some idea of what cards are going to be useful or not. So I think having the 2 of is going to be nice, and I think these guys are going to be more useful overall. So that's why we have the full play sets of them. So you notice we're going for a 12 grade 2 and then 8 grade 3, so that means we're left with 13 grade 1s. Let's look into our options. Alright, so these are options for grade 1s. Whoosh. We got the 8k vanilla, we have Stride Fodders, we have Perfect Guards, we have Kreskel, and then we have Runos. He's kind of sneaking off the bottom there. So we need to think what we want. I think the pretty standard route to take is 4 Perfect Guards, 4 Stride Fodders. We're going to get the most consistency that way, so we'll start there. Alright, so we got the 4 Perfect Guards and the 4 Stride Fodders. So that's the 8 grade 1s. That leaves us with 5 left, and we need to decide between 8k vanillas, Runos, and Kreskels. So this will be really tough because they each have pretty good uses, right? The 8k vanilla is going to be nice defensive. He'll help our numbers with the special interceptor, who's only an 8k. We have Runo, who's going to buff up any Unite units we have by +2. And then we have Kreskel, who's going to give +2 to anywhere and help fix numbers when he comes on the board. My initial thoughts are just to go with the 8k vanilla because we do not have a lot of Unite units to buff up with Runo. Right, so he's really only going to be useful when we have that 12,000 attacker. If we call the booster or the 12,000 attacker, he's going to get the +2 anyway, so we should be able to hit some nice numbers even without that. So I want to focus on the 8k vanilla first. Alright, so we got 8k vanilla, PGs, and Stride Fodders now. So we have one last card that's going to go in our grade 1s. Is it going to be a Runo or is it going to be a Kreskel? And this is really tough. I think I'm going to lean towards the Kreskel because he's going to add that +2,000 power that's going to be really useful in certain scenarios that we're not going to get being able to. A lot of we get our +2,000s that will help with numbers are going to come from calling units. But if we already have units on the field that we want to give that +2,000 to, Kreskel is going to be our dude. If we have that 12,000 attacker with an 8k behind it, we can just call the Kreskel, give the +2,000 to that lane, and it's going to go up to 22. We're not going to have to worry about it too much. So I think that's going to be really good. Alright, one more thing I wanted to cover with the 8k grade 1s. He's actually going to be really useful attacking early as well as defending early. Because one common tactic we find is if you attack early with a grade 1, your opponent will counter you by calling another grade 1 to attack your rear guard grade 1. But if it's an 8k, they can't do that. So we're going to be able to have some offense and defense at the same time. Alright, so the last thing we have to do before we get started with our deck is going to be our trigger units. So with the trial deck, we do have a couple different options that we can go with because we have the Flame of Victory crit, we have the heal trigger, the draw trigger, the stand trigger, and then we have one other crit. So we have a few options here. My first thought is to kind of max out on criticals. They're one of the most powerful triggers. We're going to want as much help as we can get, so let's go ahead and max out the critical triggers. Alright, so we got our 8 criticals. That's going to be good there. We need to, go what's next. Obviously, it's going to be 4 heal triggers. We want to be able to use G-Guardians. We want to be able to heal because we do not have any unflipping sources in the deck yet or countercharging sources. So once we use our resources, they're gone unless we heal them and take another damage. Boom, 4 heal triggers. So that's going to be 12 out of our 16 triggers. Now we just need to decide, do we want stands, do we want draws, do we want a mix of stands and draws? How is that going to work? So I think draws will be really good for the deck right now because we're going to want to activate our unite effects, and we want to be able to keep enough units. That draw is going to count as 2 units that we could call to activate unite. Yeah, we'll want to be able to activate unite, I think. And the stands, it's going to provide some, extra plays, but I don't know how useful it's going to be with only so many units that can attack our opponent's vanguard unboosted. I mean, we have a 12k attacker. I guess we have the 14k attacker. If we set it up right, we could make it so they have a 16,000 to restand. So maybe the stands aren't that bad, but I'm trying to think, offensive or kind of defensive. What do we want? Well, I think looking into the future, I see stands coming into the deck, so I think it'll be best to play with the stands right now just to get used to how the deck is going to play. And kind of, looking forward, we want to see how the deck is going to work. We don't want to use, draws might be better right now. They might be better right now, but because we plan on putting stands in, it should be better to see what pieces are working when the deck fully comes together. So we'll just go ahead and add our 4 stands there. Alright, so we finished our deck. Let's just recap it really quick. We'll go backwards. We got our triggers. We got 4 stands, 4 heals, and 8 criticals. For our grade 2s, we have 2 special interceptors, 2 10k vanillas, 4 Elios for some on-hit pressure, 4 catalysts to be attackers, get some extra numbers on the field. We have 4 divinity laser, that would be cool, lancer dragons, and then we have 4 Gurguits. Our starter will be Cole. And then the grade 1s, we have the 1 Kreskel to help things out if we haven't gotten Unite or we have something already set on the field. We got 4 AK Vanillas for some early defense and possibly some early offense. 4 Stride Fodders to help keep our deck consistent since we're going to be wanting to stride as much as we can. And then the 4 Perfect Guards to keep our defenses high. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and sleeve this up. I'm pretty excited. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll see you at or after locals with the tournament recap. What's up, card fighters? Welcome to VCO. Hello, card fighters. So we finished with week 1. We have a little tournament report for you guys. Just go over it really quickly, and then we'll get into updating this deck because we're about to go into week 2. It should be fun. We get to use a lot of new toys. We're gonna get to use a lot of new toys now, so it's gonna be fun. So it was a 4-round tournament, best 2 out of 3. So round 1, we play against Gold Paladin. Oh crap. So we play against Gold Paladin. He has the full, fleshed out deck. So he's just got a lot more better cards than us. And that's kind of what happens. We can't close out the game very quickly in most games. So he ends up out-advantaging us with just his better cards. So that was pretty rough. It wasn't so much that he had the Gurgut Stride or Glorious Rain Dragon. It was just that he just had, he had Henrynesses, he had cards that were superior calling. We couldn't really keep up with that. So that was a bit unfortunate, but we did learn some things. The Special Interceptor was pretty good. I misplayed, kind of gave him up too early when he would have saved me a bit later in the same turn. I could have used him later, but I let him die too early. So that was a bit of a misplay on my part. But he actually was pretty good because I find that in the deck, a lot of times I'm getting a lot of advantage out of intercepting my rear guards and then calling them back with Gurgwit, like kind of like a Royal Paladin where you call grade 2s, intercept them, call grade 2s. But it just because Gurgit's more defensive, I was able to get more advantage kind of that way because I wasn't using a lot of units that go into Soul or whatever. So we'll see if that trend continues. And so we'll talk about round 2. Round 2 I played against Chaos Breaker. That was hard. I rushed him. Basically my whole game plan was I was going to rush him because I was pretty sure I couldn't beat out the late game just because I don't have much of a late game, right? Because it's just 2 start decks. So rush him pretty hard. Game 1 he locks me down. That's about it. Game 2 I managed to, like, he doesn't get perfect, like he doesn't draw super well. So he like lets me have a column every once in a while, and I was able to get the game by pulling some clutch triggers. And I was hoping to clinch it game 3, but I got grade locked at 0 for 2 turns. I left 1 turn to try to draw it, and then I missed GSS the next turn. Oh, it was bad. So that was that. 2 losses already. Next round we played Genesis. Game 1, I rush pretty hard because that's been my strategy. I try to rush and then I'll call units over later if they attack my rears. So that's been working for me. She stayed on grade 2 to try to counter, I don't know, to try to get first stride and then counter, but then I don't have Z-Re, so it didn't really matter. And so she kept staying grade 2, and I just won because I got more advantage because I was on grade 3. That was pretty it. So one thing I do want to mention, I did misplay Elio in that matchup. I shuffled the deck instead of putting the 2 cards back on the bottom. That is a misplay. I should have lost that game because of that misplay, because it was tournament. But she was nice enough to let it slide. I do feel really bad about that because I double triggered the next, right after I did that. So I was like, oh, that's super suspicious. But then, I don't know. So that's been bothering me the crap out of me. So yeah, Elio is put the rest of the cards on the bottom. And most of the Gold Paladin stuff is shuffle it nowadays. So putting things on the bottom, it threw me off. Anyway, that's not going to happen this week. Week 2, gotta remember Elio puts it on the bottom, does not shuffle. No shuffling with Elio. Anyway, so that Elio hit, and then I was able to make a column behind my 11k Gurgwit with an 8k, so that made a 19. That punished that grade 2 game super hard. And so she did the same thing game 2, stayed on grade 2 for too long, and I just ended up winning that way. So we got 1 win on the board, and then the last game was against Shadow Paladin. It was a Raging Form Abyss, but he never got Raging Form, so he never got to wombo combo me. He was kind of slow, so I had the same strategy as always. I just rushed him really hard. I made sure to guard Judge Bao because I didn't know if he was running the Sword Breakers or not. Because if he's running the Sword Breakers, if Judge Bao hits, he's going to be able to build up his hand again, and I don't know if I'll be able to push through it. So I kept guarding Judge Bao, and I was able to clutch it out because he just ran out of cards, and he was never able to get Raging Form to kind of wombo combo 3 attacks with Raging Form on me. So ended up 2-2. And it was pretty good. It was really fun to play. I really like the deck. It's all about little numbers, like all those +2s, trying to get the most out of them. And just superior calling is always fun, especially when it's random. You're like, oh, I hope I get what I want. Ugh. So anyway, that's enough about the tournament recap. Let's talk about, I forgot to mention what I learned from each game. So against Chaos Breaker, it would have been nice to have some resist units, so we'll see if we can throw some of those guys in. Against Genesis, there wasn't much to talk about because she was just grade 2 gaming, so none of my skills worked too much anyway, but the 8k was nice to make the 19 column. Elio has been amazing in basically all the games because people want to guard him because he has that on-hit, especially if I stride Scourge Point. Then they don't want the on-hit to hit because then I could top call and then get another rear guard that's going to have +5, so that'll be an extra attack. So, and he works early to get extra attacks early, or an attack to a booster. It works really well. So Elio's probably most definitely staying in the deck. And then against Raging Form, there wasn't too much to talk about there either. He didn't really get what he needed, and I was able to push really hard. So the keys are pushing really hard, getting advantage out of intercepting, and then maybe squeezing some resist units in would be nice. So we'll go into the deck really quick. Gotta get it all organized. think it's already organized. Ooh, I'm so smart. Okay, so our starter was Cole. I think we'll stick with Cole. I kind of want to try Rising Lionette. Just because I don't really like how Cole, you hit Unite and then you get the call. I'd kind of rather just have something that's, like, I've already hit Unite. I don't need to call more than that usually. I'm usually just using him to get power out of Scourge Point, which isn't too shabby itself. So he's going to stay for now. Our grade 3s will stay the same again. 4 Gurgawit, 4 Divinity Lancer. This card has been amazing. You call it off of Gurgawit's 16 by itself, or with the Bright Lancer. I can't remember the name of it. Ray Breath Dragon. He's also 16, so he works really well with the stand triggers. We'll skip over the grade 2s because that's really what I want to work on the most. So the grade 1s, I think, are going to stay about the same. Well, obviously the staples are going to stay the same. So we're going to have the 4 Perfect Guards. Those are set. The 4 Stride Fodders. Those are set. And then we have 5 other cards. Because the deck was so good at converting intercepts into advantage, I'm thinking about switching this up to a grade 2. So we'll see if I do that. It'd also be nice to have an extra grade 2 so that Elio in the rear guard early becomes more active. So I think we'll go ahead and play to the intercept to superior call game plan, and we'll bump him up to a grade 2. So, and then we have 4 of these. So we got some goodies. I asked some of my friends if they had like extra commons and rares that they could give us. And I asked for like specific cards that I thought might go well in the deck. And then I got some cards from the shop as well. And Jeffrey is a big option, right? Obviously, because he moves into the soul and then you draw a card. I'm a little iffy on him. I mean, his skill is a May, so I think the fact that it's a May is going to clutch because I don't really want to be losing my boosters, which are so important. Like, because we already have we have the Stride Fodders and we have the Perfect Guards, so we don't want to call those. And if we only have 4 of their cards, then we might not want to use Jeffries, which are going to go to the soul and draw. But since they're a May ability, we can keep them around until we really need that extra defense. So I only was able to pick up 3. My friend had 3 and the store didn't have any, so we will experiment with the last slot. What else do we have here? We'll try 1 Horsa. I don't think Horsa will be very good in this deck because you don't intend to call a ton. So because we're not going to be calling a ton, I will probably never activate his ability, so maybe 8k is just going to be better. Actually, we'll just stick with the 8k vanilla for now. I mean, it did well. Nice early defense or early offense option, and the +2, it's going to be 10k, so we could hit 21s with Gurgawits. You know, it's actually pretty decent. So then we'll keep 1 to see how it's been playing. You know, maybe Jeffrey's just insanely better, so we'll play all Jeffreys. So we'll get the 4 Jeffreys in there, the 3 Jeffreys in there. Sorry. All right, so we got the 3 Jeffreys and the 1 8k just to see, you know, if he's still as good, or maybe he should just be a Jeffrey. So that's going to be it with our grade 1s. We'll do the triggers. Triggers I want to keep the same. It's 4 Flame of Victory, 4 normal crits, 4 stands, and then 4 heals. But we'll keep the 4 stands, but we'll upgrade them to Jerry's. So we got Jerry's. This guy is going to be really good because he's a 7k booster when you have Unite. Is that right? Yes. When you have Unite, he boosts or attacks for 7,000. So that's really good. And that means he's going to act as an extra booster for us. If we can't, we pull all triggers, hopefully we'll have a Jerry. We'll be able to call him. He'll still be a 7 booster. And then he goes into the soul after he boosts or attacks. And you get to unflip 1 and soul charge 1. So he's going to be filling our Gurgawit's defensive engine, whereas the other stand doesn't really do as much. And then he's also going to open up so we can play our other grade 1s as normal boosters. So opening up the field and, you know, turning himself into a defensive option. I don't really see myself using him that much unless I superior call him, because I'm going to want to save the shield in hand probably more often than not. Alright, and then now we're into the juicy grade 2s. Remember, we're going to bump Cresco up into a grade 2 just because they've been doing so well. And then we had 2 10Ks, 2 special interceptors, 4 12K attackers, and then 4 Elio. So the quick and easy thing to do, like we talked about, resist might be useful, is we're just going to bump the 12K attackers into Regans, who are also 12K attackers as long as you're striding, which you should always be striding in this deck, so that's not really a downside. But she also has resist, so that extra bit of resist, that's going to help us out a lot against the Chaos Breaker. And I was doing a little meta call against the top decks at the scene of that tournament. There's a lot of Link Joker, a lot of Control Clan, so I lost so I didn't have to play them. But if I plan to do well, I'm going to want the resist. So resist goes in. And then we need to make space for 4 Henriness. I do not have them because they didn't have them up on like their online stock, but at the store. But then they updated this week, and so there's going to be Henriness, and I'll be able to get 4 before the tournament starts. So we'll go ahead and just pretend these guys are Henrinesses. He's going to be really good for the deck. He enables, first of all, he gets more calls. So the more calls would be really, really good. For Scourge Point, you're going to get even more power. And then even better than the more calls is he gives the unit, since if we're on Gurguit, which we should be, then he's going to give the unit he calls and himself plus 3,000. And that's really important because all of our deck is set up on hitting those 21 numbers with like a plus 2 boost. So they'll be able to hit 22s off a plus 3 boost. So it's just going to enable numbers everywhere. You know, even if you call a normal 7K to his own column, you're going to bump that up to a 22 call, just like that. If you're on Scourge Point, that like you'll get a call plus 5 for Henriness, you get plus 5 for what he called, so you have a 32 column there, plus 10K to Vanguard. It's really, really good. So we're definitely going to make space for him. We might keep a special interceptor in, so for now we'll replace the 2 10Ks, the 8K, and Cresco with Henriness. Will save a spot for him right before the tournament. So then we have 5 slots left for our grade 2s. And there's like a few good cards we can run. Like I still really want to run Elio. He has been fantastic, just providing that extra pressure when he attacks. But the special interceptor provides a lot of defense. And then there's options like Marcy, who's going to be able to be another resist unit, which could be really important given how much Link Joker I saw. She can go into the Soul Axe kind of like a stand trigger, so she can go off, play the offense-defense game. So Marcy's really good, and it's really tempting, even though she's only an 8K body. And then the other card to consider is Barugal, who is 14 by himself. Superior call him with the plus 2, that's 16. Use Ray Breath Dragon, that's 16. He hits really good numbers, and he just makes a 21 by himself. So those magic numbers are going to be crucial and bring a lot more power to the deck. But I don't know if I want power or more defense in the term of special interceptors, or even just like an extra tech against a Link Joker or the Control Clans, right? So it's going to be really hard. So I don't think I just want to spend this one slot here for the special interceptors, right? So let's move down 1 Elio. We'll still have the 3, so he'll still be pretty consistent. But then we'll open up 2 slots for some tech cards, and it's going to be really tough. Let me know in the comments what you think I should have played. Obviously the video is going to come out and be done before you get to comment, so you won't be able to do, you won't be able to influence my choices. But what do you think is going to be better here? The special interceptor, Marcy, or Barugal? Barugal? I think in the anime he's like Barugal. And then he gives you that derpy face, like, So, anyway, so I think I'm tempted to run 1-in-1 of one of these guys, just kind of test things out, see how things go. But I do think this will probably be the last week, unless you guys want to see more from the Gold Start Deck, or more, just have me lengthen it in the future. It could end up being like more, but I'm going to try to finalize it with this version. And let's go ahead and... That's tough. That's tough. I think we'll get plenty of good, like, number-based stuff, just from Henriness and basically the rest of the deck. So I think I'm gonna cut the dog. Unfortunately, I don't think it's his place right now, at least with how I see the rest of the deck. So now it comes down to Marcia or the Special Interceptor, and this is a tough one. I'm tempted just to play Marcia because she has that resist, and she's going to be able to kind of move herself into the soul, give unflips, and so like she plays a really good offensive defensive role, whereas the 8K is only going to be a defensive role usually. Although, it's super tough, right? Because I have to intercept to get value off of the Special Interceptor, but with Marcy, so her Unite skill that she gets to put into the soul at the end of turn and then unflip 1 damage, that's actually at the end of any player's turn. So since Unite counts Guardians, say I don't need to intercept with her or something like that, I could just guard 2 rear guard attacks, so with 10Ks, that's going to get me Unite, and she'll go into the soul. So I think Marcy is going to be a lot more versatile, and that's what we're going to look for in this deck. So we want the versatility. Maybe we still need the grade 2, or maybe we need to turn it into defense, or clear up the field for next turn if they didn't do what we expected. So I think Marcia is going to be the go-to here. Boom. So these guys will become Marcias, and then that's going to be it for the main deck. Obviously our Stride deck with the 2 Scourge Points, the 4 Ray Breaths, 2 Agaleems, and 2 Scryus. So I did get some goodies to add on to that as well. We got two of the Gold Paladin G-Guards. A lot of times I found myself just wanting that extra 5,000 shield, and I had the full field and everything. So the extra 5,000 shield would have been really, really nice. So we got those guys to help doing that, flesh that out. And we don't even have to cut anything to make room, because we still only have 12 strides here, or 12 G units. In the normal deck, you maybe want to cut out Scryus or 1 Agaleem, 1 Scryu, just depending. But this way we'll get more options, which is a good way to kind of like... Getting a bit more options is a good way to make up for the fact that our cards just aren't as inherently powerful. We don't have the Glorious Rain Dragon, we don't have the Gurgwitz, so we're going to have some more options to make each play that much more effective. And then the last one we got is 1 Blizza. There was a lot of times where I just wish I could activate the GB2 early, use my soul, use my extra counterblast to help come back into the game, and they would have been really, really nice to be able to activate the the GB2 right off that first stride, which none of my other strides could do. So I'd either need to stride and then G-guard to get it, but sometimes you're just going to want the GB2, and the Blizz is going to be effective there. It's also going to help out if you've done some strides already, you just want a powerful Vanguard attack to punch things through, and you don't really need Raybeth to buff up your rear guards. You're already hitting those 21Ks, or you don't need to score. You already ran out of your Scourge Points. So I think the Blizz is going to be really useful. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, so just to recap the deck really quick, we have our triggers, we have 4 heals, 4 Jerry stands. We just added those, so if we're counting 25-cent columns, that's going to be $1. 25-cent columns, that's going to be $1 there. We're keeping the crits that we got from the trial deck in there. The grade ones, we got 4 Jeffries. That's probably $3. So we're up to $4 of upgrades. We got the 4 Stride Fodders. Got the 4 Perfect Guards. Keeping things pretty simple. Grade 3s are also the same. 4 Divinity Lancer for power. 4 Gurguit. Keeping Cole as a starter. So a lot of it is the same. We're just updating the grade 2s mostly. So these are going to return into Henrius. I'll get them right before the tournament, and it'll be good. But again, $8 there. We got the 4 Regans to replace our 12k attackers with basically the same thing, just with a resist. Ooh! And so those are commons. That's going to be another $1-ish. So maybe $9 now. And then the last one is 2 Marcy. That's another 50 cents-ish, depending on where you are, ish. So we're looking at maybe like around $10 so far of upgrades. And then we got the 3 Elio for that on-hit pressure. And then the strides. Boom, we got these 2 guys. So we added the 2 Reyes and the 1 Blizza. I'm not sure how much these guys are together, maybe $5. So a bit more than I wanted to spend in 1 week. Maybe $15 around for all the cards we added. But obviously, if you don't want to spend $15 in one go, you just don't feel like it, you don't have it, that's cool. Just take out, probably you don't need the extra G Guardians, and that'll put you, or the Blizza, so just taking those out, you'll still have a great main deck, and the strides will stay the same. These guys aren't super necessary, they're just going to be, the comfort of life, just getting the GB2 active, or having an extra 5k when it would really be nice. And then again, keeping 2 Scryu, 2 Agaleems, 4 Ray Breaths, and the 2 MVP Scourge points. So yeah, week 2 is coming up, and I'll be back with a tournament report after week 2, and then that is going to wrap it up for this trial deck evolution. So hopefully we'll do about well. Our goal is to go better than 2-2 like last time. We're going to shoot for the top 8, get 3-1, make it in that top 8, and then see how it goes from there.
Alright, what's up, Card Fighter? So, just going back home after week 2 for the Gold Paladin Start Deck Evolution. Didn't go quite as well as I wanted to, so that is a little unfortunate. But what we did get is, so we went 1-3. We only got 1 game. That's a bit worse than last time. But the deck feels a lot better. I was able to compete, so a lot of the games were closer. So the games that I lost the previous week, they were kind of blowouts just because my cards just couldn't keep up. But the games this week, they were a lot closer. So just do a quick recap. Round 1 I played Chaos, tried the same strategy, tried to rush him down. I wasn't able to get my resist units, so that was kind of an issue. I wasn't able to capitalize on being able to counter the locks and things like that. So he kind of clutched out game 1. Game 2 went really close, but I wasn't able to I wouldn't get the triggers when I needed it to kind of really push the game. It went to time. We both had 1 card in deck. It was that close. It was really fun. It was a great game. But I didn't get that, so I'm already 0-2 now. Round 3, played against Genesis again. Something about Genesis players love to grade lock themselves against me. So I got game 1 pretty easily because of that. Game 2, I got so many heals. So the game got drawn out a lot. I ended up with 1 card left in my deck again for that game, but it was really fun. It was really exciting. Really back and forth match. So that was really fun to play, and I got the win that round. So 1-2, and then the last round I played against Gear Chronicle. He got the first game. Just kind of overpowered me with like TikToks and whatnot. Game 2, he slowed down some of his combos. I guess he didn't play it as well as he didn't go into the things that he wanted to. I got the damage trigger when I really needed it. So I was able to push him out in the game 2. And the game 3, I don't remember exactly. I remember it being really close, and it came down to time again. He was swinging with his Vanguard. I got a little greedy. I was at 3. I didn't see many critical triggers out from his deck. But I wanted to take the Vanguard attack, and I got double crit. Ugh. So that was a round for me. That was a loss. But all 3 games, well, maybe game 1 wasn't that close, but the games 2 and 3 were pretty close. They were good games. So I think that speaks a lot for the deck after being upgraded, even with just a little bit, right? Like I think it was around $15-ish to update completely. It was really good. So it definitely brought the deck up to a new level. It was really fun. And unfortunately, that's going to be the last week for the trial deck evolution. So, although let me know in the comments if you'd like me to extend it for the next one, or maybe return back to the Gold Paladin deck to, give it another shot, or give it another couple weeks, try to update it some more. I did want to try to sneak in some dongles right before the tournament, given that it was the last week, but they're like $10 now. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, it was really fun doing this trial deck evolution. I'll definitely be doing more. Next one is I think the next trial deck that comes out is the Zodiac Time Beast, so I'm really excited for that and look forward to that. Again, let me know in the comments below if you liked this video, if you want to see more weeks going into the future. Like this one is a 2-week evolution. I could do like a month evolution. That's probably as long as I would like to go, is around a month. And then also let me know about the format. Do you want to see things like this? I felt 2 weeks was alright. I could just do one episode, kind of combine it all into 1 week. Or say if it goes longer, I could do weekly episodes. So it would be like week 1, I would tell you how I did, at the end of week 1, and then the next one would be the end of week 2, what I updated, and go into week 2, that kind of thing. Let me know what you want for the format. Hit me up in those comments. But for now, I think I'll keep it a 2-week single episode. Seems to be pretty nice. And can't think if there's anything else. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/Vanguard Central Academy. Really appreciate you going to check that out and supporting me. And subscribe for more content. Like, obviously there's going to be more trial deck evolutions because it was so fun for me. It's going to be how to play some ruling questions, so look forward to that, guys, and make sure to keep on learning, keep on having fun, and I'll see you in another video.